Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. And this video is actually going to be interesting because I haven't actually covered this person, at least not in the same vein as everyone else has, and that's only really because I only recently started doing commentary videos, and by the time I did, the person in question, well, yeah, he didn't really start doing anything in particular, and was actually just doing live streams and stuff. So, yeah, unfortunately, looks like it's time to pop the good old cherry on that one, because literally everyone and their mother has covered this person, and I'm sorry that if I'm beating around the bush here, but it makes for a better joke. We're talking about Jaytechtv. Now, I think I've mentioned Jaytechtv in the past before, maybe in passing and stuff, but for those of you who are unaware or really just don't know who that is, because one, I've never covered him before, and two, you might have never seen any of the content, which I don't know how you haven't, but he was, and still kind of is, one of the biggest PlayStation fanboys ever, really, to be covered on this sort of channel. Now, not big as in, like, size, I would say big as in infamous. He is infamously known for his very dumb and stupid PlayStation-centric takes, and things like that. But today, we have, very interestingly, a two-parter, which I'm going to be covering both parts today, which is why I didn't initially cover it originally when the video came out. I had other things at the time, and, well, I frankly needed to take a big poo, so I'd much rather do that than watch some of his videos. But we have a two-parter here for PC Port Begging Trolls Opinions 2022. Now, I'm unsure if this is actually, like, a serious video, but it does appear that he's also going back to his old roots to actually make original actual videos rather than anything else. And to be quite honest with you, I am excited because we finally get to cover someone who is kind of new to the channel and I haven't really done before. But with that being said, let's get into part one. I think this has gone on far enough, so I'll try to keep this video condensed.
So I want to give you guys my updated opinions on PlayStation and PC. These opinions are completely different from how I was thinking or the type of videos I was making like 4 or 5 years ago. As of right now, I believe that PlayStation deceived all PS5 owners.
Keep this in mind as we move forward. And also something interesting is he's playing, I think, Demon Souls, from what I can tell here. And one other thing that I also want to point out here is I always hate when videos have, like, that click thing and the whatever, especially with that mixing. Just, I never liked that.
Now hear me out.
We're listening, but you have a tinfoil hat on, sir. Possibly best to remove that before you do anything else. And they didn't lie to you. It's just marketing. I would know. I'm a marketing student. Marketing student.
The reason they deceived us is because when the system was about to come out, they bragged about all the capabilities, all the features. Lightning fast SSD, 4K 60, ray tracing, haptic feedback, and all of these other amazing features for the DualSense. They made it seem that, you needed to get a PS5. You weren't going to be able to experience what the PS5 was going to give us anywhere else. Featuring games like Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Demon Souls, God of War, getting a 60 frames per second update, stuff like that.
That's not true. If I'm being honest here, I would say at the minimum what they decided to do was just had really good marketing on the PlayStation. Some of the games only on PlayStation nowadays, yeah, that's kind of wrong marketing now, but they have been since changed and removed because that's technically false advertising for right now. However, I will say that the biggest and the most important thing is that you still got all those features. They never said this was exclusively on PlayStation, at least not necessarily. They said it has one of the fastest SSDs on the market and all that other stuff. They never said it was exclusive to PlayStation, at least not legitimately. It might have been inferred, at least in subtle contexts, but at the same time, again, that's just played up marketing. So, because you fell for the marketing, thinking that it was only on PlayStation stuff because you were very PlayStation-centric at the time, or still are very PlayStation-centric, that's lying to you? No, it's just really good marketing. That's just how marketing is. They try to convince you to get the product, even if you may not want the product.
It really kind of hit me, I would say about 2019, if I'm not mistaken, when we got some rumors about Horizon Zero Dawn, and then literally the floodgates open, and more games were going to PC.
Right. 2019, rumors about Horizon Zero Dawn, and then there's this clip.
It's for PS5 and PC. Jim Ryan
don't
lost
say
touch,
shit.
bro. That is
Don't
dumb
say-
as fuck.
Didn't seem to really change your opinion that often, or that quickly. In fact, you insulted the actual people that you had a part in to do. Kind of seemed like you were also very angry for it. I don't know why. Also, again, given the title, this might also be a troll, but I can't really be certain on that. That's more of my tinfoil hat theory. But, okay.
I only give out the information that I'm given. When PlayStation is making it seem as though they care about exclusives and they want people to buy their platform for specific features or games, as a fan, as a PlayStation owner, you're going to be excited. You're going to be proud. You're going to brag about this stuff. You're going to celebrate this stuff.
No. Not necessarily. PlayStation fanboys will brag and, post and do all that other shit and give the free marketing. Regular people don't often do that and don't often praise exclusives. Some might, and some might have that opinion. I'm not going to knock them for that. That's their opinion. They can have it. But most people don't really care. They care about the games more than they care about the company. You, on the other hand, have it backwards, where you care less about the games and more about the company. And we'll more or less see that in part 2. But keep that in mind. Again, this is still weird. Also, can I just ask, what the fuck is up with some of this gameplay here? Like, he switched to a Crash Bandicoot testing ring or something like that? I have no idea what the fuck's happening.
I feel, deep down in my heart, that PlayStation should go day and date.
And why is that? Seems very different from the opinion that you already had.
Death Stranding Director's Cut, right? It went to PC in less time than the original Death Stranding. Death Stranding went to PC in 8 months. Death Stranding Director's Cut went to PC, if I'm not mistaken, about maybe almost 5 months it took to go to PC. The oldest game, or the game that took the longest to go to PC, was Uncharted 4.
Okay. Where are you going with this? Because I can kind of see where you might be going with this, and that might have some valid points, but I don't really think that that's the case.
Roughly 5 years, right?
The game that you complained about on a live stream that Jim Ryan had lost touch with people. Or lost touch with his consumers, even though that's not true.
We have a confirmation from Sony themselves that confirmed that The Last of Us Part 1, that's coming out next month on the PS5, will be coming out on PC very soon after. I feel like if you're trying to grow your fan base on PC, continuously allowing them to understand that they're not your top priority, while also wanting their money months or even years later after you release said game, is stupid.
I mean, I can see what he's trying to do here, and I can see what he's trying to manipulate me into saying in some ways, and mainly saying that he's wrong. He's not entirely wrong. While, yes, there might be a portion of people who think this way, that's a very small, narrow-minded view of how PC gaming actually works. For me, I purchased both Horizon Forbidden West and Spider-Man because not only were they Sony games, that was, like, not really even in the repertoire, it's just because I wanted to buy them. And Spider-Man Remastered, specifically, I've played more of than I have of the other game, mainly due to the fact that it's, well, a really nice game to play. If I'm being honest, there really isn't anything specific else about this point that I disagree with entirely. And he is kind of right, but also not really. It's like one of those points where it's like in that gray area, and it's very hard to like figure it out. But I would say that no, it's not that us waiting will make us not want to buy games. If we want the game, we're going to buy the game in a lot of different ways. It just depends on a lot of different factors than just exclusivity.
Because they're not going to take you seriously. Now, if you go day and date, well, you're going to lose a lot of money.
What? Wait. What? Huh? That's the end of the video? What the fuck? Wait. So, expanding your market for which you can sell your product is going to lose money. Fucking how? Fucking how? Like, explain that to me. Explain that to me. How is it that you can have another marketplace that you can not only market to, but that has proven over and over and over again, repeatedly, oftentimes doubling sales of specific games, Death Stranding, heck, even God of War, it doubles their sales within the same amount of time that they had, like, been on the platform. In the entire time that they were there, it doubles their sales, making them more revenue on top of that, which is pure profit at this point. How in the holy mother of matrimonial fuck is it even possible to accomplish that and lose money in the process of porting these games over with very minimal investment, very minimal time and effort to do so on the part of, say, the developers? Maybe you might have to bring in some extra people and spend, like, I don't know, a couple million here and there, but overall, you make that money back as pure profit at that point. That's what they're doing. That's what they have done, and that's the whole big thing with that. As a business student, I would love to see just the amount of bullshit that he has to deal with in that context to even remotely make that unprofitable. I don't know. Right, that's one video down. Let's get to this other one, and then we'll end this off fairly quickly. So, this is PC Bork Begging Trolls Opinions, Part 2.
These are my opinions on this. They really need to go day and date. Where is the excitement? Where is the enthusiasm for a game that is only on PlayStation consoles exclusively for a few months, and then it's on another platform? Like, if you really care about the gaming community as a whole, release it on all platforms, day and date, and see if the community loves the game together.
So, just as a quick weird note here, he has some Saints Row footage in the background. And that's pretty neat. There's also my fucking dog! There's also some really weird things happening there, where he's like, he seems to have made himself in the game. I'm not gonna knock that. I just thought that was really weird, but also kind of interesting at the same time, to just how deep the customization is at that point. Whatever, we'll move past it. So, his point here is that they should go day and date because of the fact that, well, the original point was because of the fact that he fell for the marketing, and therefore, and then, like, when the narrative shifted and the marketing became invalid, he became upset because that was just, he thought that it was false marketing, even though they never claimed half the stuff that he said, that it was only on PlayStation. They never claimed that, necessarily. Now he's saying the whole point is to go day and date to see if everyone likes it. And no. I don't think that that's the point of going to all the platforms, to see if everyone likes it equally. That's not the case. The case with this is that going day and date doubles your profit margin potential instantaneously, regardless of any other factor. It literally doubles your profit margin for that game, so you can spend more time and energy and possibly even money on that game to then make a more profitable game out of. For example, some of the most profitable games to ever exist are multi-platform games. More than often than not, these games and these platforms don't sell the actual games themselves necessarily. Some do, and that's totally fine with that. But it's more, you're thinking that it's more about the, well, we'll get into that.
Instead of this scattered celebration. We celebrate the game 5 years ago, and then you guys have to celebrate it 5 years later. Or you got to celebrate it a couple months later.
We don't have to celebrate shit. I mean, I celebrate Hanukkah. Not everyone celebrates Hanukkah. Some people celebrate Christmas. Not everyone celebrates fucking Christmas. We don't have to celebrate shit, technically.
We literally have games that were released on PS5, Death Stranding Director's Cut, and then months later put on PC. We know that PC fans don't buy PlayStation exclusives at the rate as PlayStation fans, but that might change. I mean, exclusivity is a selling point.
First of all, that is fucking false. Now, if you're talking, say, about them being PlayStation exclusives and saying that, oh, well, they don't buy it because it's PlayStation exclusive, that's not a fair comparison. If they're PlayStation exclusives and the person's on a PC, they're not necessarily going to go out of their way to buy a PlayStation and then buy the game to play because they don't see it as a necessary or a good investment into their personal time to play the game. If money was no object, I'm fairly certain most people would just have the best of everything all the time. But money is something that has to be factored in here. You're saying that they don't buy at the same rate? That's not a fair comparison because they're not available at the same time nor at the same place. If you're talking specifically about PlayStation games, regardless of platform, and how people don't buy them at the same rate, i.e. don't buy them at the same quantity or volume at the same amount of time periods, that's fucking false. Again, false. Legitimately. I don't have the numbers to specifically back this up, but Klutzy King looked this up, so I'm going to kind of quote him for a bit here and say that it basically, there was in the same 1 month period from the launch of the game, it was the exact same price, or it was the exact same amount of people that purchased it. And in all honesty, that makes the most amount of sense. And again, for some of these games, their overall purchase value and how many items and how many units were sold in the lifetime sometimes even just doubled in a shorter amount of time. For Death Stranding specifically, I remember that I don't know how many it sold specifically, but I think I looked this up at some point where it sold like 1 million or 1.3 million on the standard time, and on the PlayStation in like its lifetime, and that it's still like going up or whatever. But that's the most that I checked it at the time. Don't know how much it was when I last saw it, but in the tweet that I kind of have quoted a lot of, it doubled the sales. It doubled the amount of prices to it. Again, it doubles your market potential to go to multiple different markets and sell your game on multiple different marketplaces. That's one of the big reasons why a lot of people don't like the Epic Games Store, because the exclusivity of it means that they have to use an inferior product or a product that they see as inferior, which it technically is very much so inferior. But at the same time, it still offers an exclusive thing. So if you want that exclusive thing, you have to go to that whole thing. And I would much rather have the infrastructure and the choice for it. Again, that's another one of the big reasons why I don't like the EAC VRC thing. But as I've already covered that. Let's move on.
You go to these different restaurants because of what they have to offer you that other people don't. If you can get the same game in more than one place, it is not as special as it once was.
Bullshit. Well, kind of. I would say that in some contexts he's correct, but let me just break down the restaurant example in a similar way, but I'll use ice cream people rather than anything else. So everyone likes ice cream. Well, that's a known fact. The ice cream itself is the product that everyone sells. So whether you get it out of a tub in the grocery aisle or out of the back of a truck, much like how you did in the olden times, it one might feel more special at the time, but it's still the same amount of ice cream that you're kind of getting. Now, again, many people like different flavors of ice cream and different things of ice cream, but I would say that if I want ice cream specific to the way that I make it, I'd much rather order it from, say, someone who does this. Like, I would rather order it from the truck personally, because I could customize it to how I would like it. But to have someone to go out of their way to buy the specific parts and then assemble it themselves, yeah, certainly. A lot of people are going to do that as well, because it's more customizable. It's the price that you pay for the convenience of it, rather than the actual price of, like, what they're offering to you. They can offer a lot of the same things, and most restaurants have varied standards. So, again, let's take your local diner versus, say, another diner that I had. Like, I had 2 diners in my area, and I still have 2 diners in my area, that are both local areas and that were very, very close to each other. So both of them had a lot of the same things on their menu, and they had the exact same type of soup. And that soup itself was the exact same at both restaurants. And it still is the exact same at both restaurants. It's just how they make it. So does that make the soup any less tasty? Fuck no, it doesn't. It just means that I can get it more at different places. Whether I'm uptown, whether I'm downtown, it doesn't matter. What they should be doing in this case is to basically allow the software to be sold to the people that's at the biggest market, to allow them to be in multiple places at once, to franchise, like, again, McDonald's or something like that. If you keep it exclusive, you are completely and utterly limiting the amount of people that can already pay for a game that you are charging for. It works like that with literally fucking anything. Let's say, there's a lot of examples that I could give, and I'm probably just going to give a general example. But you have your market, and your market itself is limited because of the amount of eyeballs that you can have. To be clear here, if you limit your market, it sucks for business, period. Exclusives limit a market in an already limited market. That's what they do. They are a, quote, selling point because they are only to one place. But not everyone wants to go to that place, and not everyone's going to buy that product. If one store sells one thing really well, it already limits the market. It's like the Impossible Whopper at Burger King is probably the best example in my opinion. I have only seen the Impossible Whopper available at, like, Impossible Meat, only available at Burger King. And it's only available there. None of my other areas have an Impossible Meat burger of any kind, even though they technically could. So I have to go to them for that. But let's say I wanted to maybe go to Wendy's. They don't have the Whopper, or they don't have the burger that I want. So I order something else. It's the price of choice that we have. I'd much rather have the Impossible Whopper a lot, but not all the time. I don't like getting served vanilla ice cream the same way twice, or at least the same way multiple times in a row. And that's what exclusives feel like to me. I hope that made sense, because I went off on a little bit of a tangent there.
Multi-platform games that come out every year are boring to me. I skip basketball every year. I skip Call of Duty every year. I skip soccer every year. I skip wrestling every year. It's boring. And when the secret has been exposed, which it has been exposed, that, every game that releases on PlayStation 5 from now on, that is a blockbuster AAA title from the Sony first-party studios, will be released on PC later on. How do you get excited about it?
You get excited the same way that you get excited about other games. But that's not the point. Again, going back to his other point before, you might not get excited for games that annually have a release date. I personally don't get any sports game, fucking ever. Except maybe, Wii Sports or, the Mario Golf thing. Those I understand, at least to some degree. But for me, for things like NFL, NBA, MLB. I never understood them, and I never will. I'm going to be quite honest. I never will understand them personally. I don't think that they are entertaining, at least to me, and that they release every year and it's the same kind of fluff and nonsense. But I like Call of Duty, personally. A lot of the Call of Duties are very much the same, but they just have a new coat of paint on them. Yeah, sure. But to me, and to everyone else who purchases a lot of those types of games, it's entertaining to them for the reasons that exclusives are entertaining to you. They like the game. They appreciate the game's value more than anything else. You, on the other hand, appreciate the game just because it's an exclusive. It might be the worst game fucking ever, like Returnal or something like that. Which that's very much hyperbolic, and that's my point. Returnal was bad, in my opinion, but I wasn't the target audience for it. That's what marketing does. It targets the target audience. That's all that it's doing. And because you fell for the marketing, meaning that you're their target audience, what the fuck is this point? Like, seriously. Boy. If you're still gonna buy the game, why the fuck would you want to do that? Like, going back to the VRCEAC example, the reason why people started to make the game, like, and review the game very critically to get it to an overwhelmingly negative to even a mixed overall, and canceled their VRC Plus subscriptions, which was their revenue. The reason why they did that is because PC gamers, well, most gamers are not fucking stupid to the point of where they will still support a company that they fucking hate because of the fact that they do something that they don't like. Most people don't do that. If they don't like something, they'll fucking stop paying for it. That's what they do. That's what most people do in their right mind will do. If you're still going to support the company that you fucking hate, you are a fanboy of whatever. You are that whale, that person that will continuously buy and buy and buy and buy and buy from the company because you just like the company and you don't want to, quote, see them fail. It's not like that. Just because they lose like one purchase doesn't mean jack diddly fucking shit to them. But lose $10 to $15 million in an instant, they're going to notice because that's their money, or that's the money that they perceive that they should have.
Am I still going to buy the game? Yes, because I'm a gamer. I want to finish the story. I want to see where it goes. The type of excitement, we're going to have it. Sony's not dumb enough to announce that God of War Ragnarok is in development for PC, like they did with The Last of Us. But in the future, these might be after-credit announcements.
What? How was that a dumb move to announce that that's being developed for the PC as well? That makes no sense. If they already did it with another game and it's still just as popular, then why in the holy of fuck is it not good to, say, hey, we're bringing this to another platform as well, and we're developing it alongside, and it's going to be day and date. That would make it even better. Again, market potential here, motherfucker. Market fucking potential. And, yeah, we're just going to call it there, honestly. To be quite fair here with Jaytech, at least he understands that Sony, in their infinite wisdom, isn't the best company. And yeah, certainly they are not, but to be honest, I don't fucking care. And covering these two videos, I definitely need to take a quick break because, honestly, this is probably going to be released sometime tomorrow from the day of recording this, because I've been staggering out my recordings versus my actual uploading of the content just to give myself a day to not actually fucking upload the content and stuff. But you know what? I'm done. I think I've laughed at this long enough. I've kept you here long enough. So final conclusions, and we'll get the fuck out of here. Jaytech, I've only covered one of your videos, but I've seen you for fucking years at this point. Your opinions that you have are very, very Sony-centric. And while I appreciate how sometimes, at least in this context, you're getting some things through that thick skull, finally, after years, you're getting them through in the wrong fucking reasons. It's like when you teach someone how to ride a bicycle by saying that you need to steer with your feet or something like that. I mean, you can still ride the bicycle and they're not technically wrong in some contexts, but it misses the point entirely. But I don't know. What do I know again? I'm just some business college student yelling into a microphone in my bed. I don't know, bro. Anyway, let's just call it right there. My name is GamePenguin21, and a peace off.
You wanna get